What's going on, guys, and welcome to SMJ Podcast. As you looking at your screen, we are the three hosts that will be discussing the human flourishing. So let me introduce myself. My name is Alyssa, Jasmin, and the other lady that is also hosting for today is Lalaine Moraleda. And the one and only guy that we got here is Salgado. So as we are looking at now, na parang marami tayong viewers for today podcast. Okay, masaya yon kasi maraming gustong makinig at interesado sa ating itatackle today. And as we share our glimpse, insights, thoughts, or learnings about the topic that we will be discussing today, I'm sure na marami sa atin ang makakaintindi nito at marami rin kayong matututunan during our podcast. So sit back and enjoy our podcast for today.
In this video, we're going to talk about more on science, technology, and society. In this particular video, we're going to talk about the human flourishing in terms of science and technology. So, before we start, I just want to ask a question. What is happiness to you?
So yeah, partner, so you're asking what is happiness. So usually, pag ako natatanong talaga ako about that, na what is happiness? So for me, happiness is when you feel contented on the things that you have, and if you feel something fulfilling or satisfaction that you receive from the things that you earn or from the things that you receive, and the feeling of contentment that makes you happy, that you're not wanting for more, that you're contented on what you have. That's what I think the happiness for me right now. Kasi hindi ko ma-identify ang ibang happiness, pero mas nararamdaman ko yung happiness when I feel so contented sa mga bagay na meron ako, and that's how I call my own happiness.
Thank you for sharing your happiness. In happiness, we have different perspective and meaning in what happiness is. Katulad nga ng mga shinare nila kanina, meron tayong iba't ibang perspective kung ano yung happiness. So, in psychology, happiness is a mental thing, or it's an emotional state, shall we say, of well-being, which can be defined by positive or pleasant emotions, ranging from contentment to intense joy. So, that is, in the field of psychology, that is how they define happiness is. To behaviorists, there specifically happiness is a cocktail of emotions. So, we say we experience that when we do something good or positive, but to more specifically, perspective of it. To neurologists, shall we say happiness is the experience of a flood of hormones released in the brain as a reward for behavior that belongs to survival.
Alright, Elaine, thank you for that explanation. So that's what happiness on the different branches of science. There are two main views when we look at happiness. So, what are the two main views that we look at happiness? So, what comes in your mind when you hear hedonistic views?
This hedonistic view of well-being is that happiness is the opposite, the complete opposite of suffering. The process of happiness indicates that there is an absence of pain. So that's how they define, and for hedonistic view, what happiness is.
Describe this ideology of good and spirit of what is eudaimonia. So eudaimonia defines happiness as the pursuit of becoming a better person. So, sinasabi nila na ang mga may eudaimonia views is yung happiness ang nagli-lead sa'yo to process yourself as a better person. So, parang dadaan ka sa happiness Yun yung maglilid sa'yo papunta sa pagiging better person mo. And those people who have a eudaimonia views, we call them eudaimonists. So eudaimonists, they challenge themselves intellectually, or they keep on engaging activities that can make themselves spiritually richer people.
We can say that eudaimonia, shall we say, it's a good spirit from the word itself.
And yes, it was coined by Aristotle actually, and this described as a pinnacle of happiness that is attainable for us humans. And it is also a very important concept in a human flourishing that is called eudaimonia.
Next, as you can see in this diagram, we have two words. We have the hedonomia is to feel good and the eudaimonia is to feel the purpose. Okay, so let's start with the eudaimonia. As we can see, first is we have the sweet life. When we are talking about sweet life, it is all about you are living to the fullest. It means kailangan mong i-maintain yung buhay mo. You are carefree and happy, while kapag nararamdaman mo yung meaning, you are fulfilled life. You are satisfied or happy because you are fully developed. And that means kapag yun yung nararamdaman mo, ikaw ay nabubuhay sa kagustuhan mo. You are living your life to the fullest and you are satisfied. So, you have done something or may nabagawa kang mabuti, while meaning of void life seems empty. You are experiencing great sadness, and kapag nararamdaman mo yun, napupunta ka doon sa dry life. Meaning you are experiencing boring life, lack of something, and you believe that you're born, you live, you die into dry life. Ganun lang kasimple, paniniwala mo sa buhay. So, kapag nararamdaman mo yun, yung void life or dry life, eudaimonia, feel purpose, ibig sabihin you need the sweet life, the fulfilled life, meaning you have done something, kaya ka masaya sa buhay. Upon the experiencing minimum, the void life, and the dry life, meaning you need to do something. Next is the eudaimonia. It's feel good. When you are experiencing the void life or the emptiness or great sadness, kailangan mo di ba makaramdam ng feeling good. So, kailangan para mawala yung greatest sadness, pumunta ka dun sa sweet life. You are going to live your life to the fullest, carefree and happiness. Kailangan mong humanap ng purpose para maging masaya ka. Kailangan mong humanap ng way para maramdaman mo yung carefree and happiness. While if you're going to have the dry life or the boring lack of something, then you must have the fulfilled life. Para maramdaman mo yung feeling ng good, satisfied, or happy because of you are fully developed. And pag nasa dry life ka naman, meaning may kulang ka or kailangan mong makuha yung attainment to fulfilled life, which is kailangan mong makuha yung kulang sa'yo para makaramdam ka or makakuha ka ng hedonomia or feeling good. So, that is the difference between two. So, again, hedonomia is feeling good. Kung ano yung kulang sa'yo, madadagdagan. Kung ano yung nararamdaman mong kulang, kailangan mong maramdaman yung happiness. So, kailangan mong ma-fulfilled. Yung eudaimonia naman, explain kung bakit actions you are doing to become a better person. Kung ikaw ay masaya, meaning you are fulfilled. May nagawa kang mabuti sa iba or sa sarili mo. The void life, ibig sabihin you are boring, emptiness, you need to do something para mawala.
So according to Aristotle, the one who coined the word, there is an end of all actions that we perform which we desire for itself, and we call it eudaimonia. Again, it's simple as it is. We called it flourishing or happiness, which is desire for its own sake with all the other things that being desired. Eudaimonia is a property of one's life. When you consider it as a whole, flourishing is the highest good of human endeavors. And then, towards with all the actions aimed, it's success of a human being, and the best life is one of the excellence in the human activity. Okay? And this is the best life, one with excellence in the human activity. That is what one day you will experience if you reach the state of the eudaimonia, and this is called flourishing.
We are human beings. We call this human flourishing. This eudaimonia concept, this human flourishing, came from Nicomachean ethics. These are the philosophical inquiry into the nature of good life for a human being. This is actually written by the son of Aristotle, Nicomachus. That's why from the name, Nicomachean ethics. Okay, now, prononesis is the habit of making the right decisions and taking the right actions in context, and the pursuit of excellence for the common good. We call that prononesis as the one area or the result of human flourishing. We also have friendship, wealth, and then power.
So as the time changes, elements that comprise human flourishing have changed. We know that people found means to live more comfortably, exploring places, developing more products to make more money, and which is a very important partner of for our daily life is the money. So bakit importante si pera? Of course, people do consume foods every day and we need food, water every day. So, saan ba tayo kukuha nun? E di sa pera para may pambili tayo ng pagkain natin. Kasi kailangan yun eh. Necessary sa katawan nating mga tao yun. And humans of the day are expected to become more man of the world. Bakit man of the world? Kasi alam natin na paunti-unti nagiging globalized tayong mga tao.
Supposed to situate himself in a global neighborhood, that one that I said working side by side among institutions and the government to be able to reach a common goal. Now, these days, competitions as a means of survival has become a past, which means it outdated anymore, okay? And coordination is a new trend. So, meaning helping with each other, cooperation and talking, communication with others. So, that's a new trend instead of competition this time, these days. Okay, after this slide, we're going to have this a little bit of comparison of the Eastern and Western conceptions regardless society in the human flourishing. We're going to compare the Eastern, that is Asia, or shall we say specifically China and the other parts here in Asia. And then the Western part is Europe. For the Eastern conceptions, what is their perspective in society in the human flourishing? So, their main focus is actually in community-centrics. Their main goal is to have this community as a whole. Individuals should sacrifice from their selves for the sake of the society. That's how Eastern people look at society and human flourishing at times. Just for example, the Chinese Confucian system, the Japanese Bushido, and this encourage studies of literature, science, and art for greatest cause. So just take note, Eastern conception is mainly for community-centrics compared to the Western conceptions, which is more focused on the individual. So as we can see, more of our discussion in human flourishing, especially in eudaimonia, came from the Eastern civilizations from Aristotle. So yeah, to be very clear, we talk about human flourishing as an end for the Western culture.
Ian and Aline, before we proceed, there's a question that comes into my mind actually. Everyone has own principle. Even the both of you have a own principles. So my question is, do we have a principle for human flourishing?
Good question. Yes, we have 9 principles under the human flourishing.
Yup, and one of those principles that I know is dignity of human person, which initiates the personal values or rights that demands respect all in all regardless the life status, race, social class, gender, age, in all general. So whatever you are, you have the right to demand for respect, okay? And next for that is the common good is a sacrificing self-interest to meet everyone's basic human needs and benefiting the entire community. I think it would be perfect for this example is like, for example, you take the course of Bachelor of Science major in Hospitality Management, and then after you graduate, you applied for a civil service that is really different from the course that you take before and versus the job that you applied. Why is this a perfect example? Because it is more benefiting for the entire community if you applied for a civil service. Aminin man natin o hindi, nangangailangan ang mga gobyerno ng mga empleyado para sa kanilang komunidad, para mas maproseso nila at mas maraming tumutulong sa kanila para mapanatili ang komunidad na maayos.
You can add up the 3 principles that I got when all persons who are affected by a choice engage in making it. That's called subsidiarity. It is example. Following principle is the universe purpose of goods that talks about Earth's resources that serves every person's need, regardless of who owns them. And then the stewardship of creation, it is the duty to care for Earth as a God-given gift, is a person's responsibility for the common good.
So okay, we have the Aristotle view because Aristotle is rather the one that gave us the eudaimonia in the Nicolaitean ethics from his son Nicomachus, and the aims of the eudaimonia that is the ultimate goal for the Western conception. So as far as we can see, they have a comparison compared to Eastern and Western conception.
Eastern is focusing on the community. Western is based on individual. So, what are the main takeout in this lesson in science, psychology, and the human flourishing? So, every discovery, innovation, and success contribution to our pool of human knowledge right now. Technically, we call this now research in order for us to add something to the body of knowledge. So, human perpetual needs to locate himself, the world, by finding proofs to trace evolution. Elicits our idea of self-importance, and we have technology. It's a human activity that now we excel in as a result of achieving science. So this is said by Heidegger. He is a German philosopher. Martin Heidegger is a good inherently related to the truth. That's it. Thank you for your time today. I hope you enjoyed. Have a nice day, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, that's it. Thank you for your time today. I hope you enjoy and have a nice day. Thank you.